TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Did you know there's a Korea's billionaires row? So in New York, if you guys don't know, there's a billionaires row. That's where all the billionaires live. But the one in Korea is on steroids. Like the one in New York, technically you could walk around. I mean, you can't go inside, but you could walk by the building and go, ah, that's where they live, and then walk away. But in Korea, it's a whole neighborhood in Seoul called Hanam-dong. It is the most luxurious high-tech real estate on the beautiful hillside next to the Han River. It looks like a city from the future. Hanam-dong is divided into 3 sections, and the first section is called The Hill. It's huge. It's luxurious. BTS had a $7 million apartment back there. I think this is when they were still living together in their dorms. And allegedly, some of the craziest idols be living on The Hill in Hanam-dong. And that's the starter pack. The Hill is level 1. So then you got level 2, 9-1 Hanam. That's another apartment complex. This one is for the platinum spooners. A-list actors, singers, business people. G-Dragon bought a $7.3 million luxury penthouse apartment here, and it is one of the most prestigious home addresses that you can have in all of South Korea. But it's still nothing compared to Un Village. If 9-1 Hanam is a skyscraper, Un Village is a fucking rocket ship. This is level 3, the best of the best, the diamond spoon table. These people don't even just have a diamond spoon. They have a whole diamond plate that their servants be spoon feeding them caviar from. This is for the people that are so famous, you don't need to ask for their last name. Like Jenny, Miss Jenny. She could be fucking renewing her license at the DMV. Government name, please. Jenny. That's it. She doesn't need a last name. Blackpink in your area? No, sorry. She's in Hanam-dong. Okay, she's not in your area. This is the area in question. This is where they're at.
You're fine.
So Korean Beverly Hills.
5 laws of the universe that are surprisingly accurate. Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So plan and prepare for it. Hope for the best, but expect the worst. Kydland's Law. When you write down a problem clearly, then the matter is half solved. 50% of the challenge of solving problems is clearly defining the problem. Gilbert's Law. It's always your responsibility to find the best way to achieve the desired result. Take responsibility for outcomes and you'll lead a far more successful life. Wilson's Law. Prioritize knowledge and learning and money will continue to flow. The easiest way to make money is to be a constant learner. Keep reading and always having a skill you're trying to develop. Falkland Law. When there is no need to make a decision, don't make a decision. The most successful people make good decisions, but they also ignore things that don't need their attention right now. Don't make decisions that don't need to be made.
You forgot coleslaw. Putting mayo on shredded veggies will help our daily routine. I always forget it.
Houston man is fighting for his life after he signed up for a yoga class and spent the whole time standing in the back taking pictures of all the women. When the instructor respectfully asked him to leave, he said he paid for the class and was going to be there the whole time. That's when one of the class attendees said, "You might be here the whole time, but if you keep taking pictures of me, you might not make it out of here." About 5 minutes later, he did take another picture of her, and then allegedly she grabbed some 3-pound weights, which you'd think aren't that heavy until they're being hurled at your head at 20 miles per hour. And I say allegedly because now that this man's in the hospital, he's filing assault charges against the yoga studio, who conveniently said that their cameras weren't working and they don't have the footage from his class. The women in this yoga class are the only witnesses to this alleged assault, and they've banded together and said that this guy fell down into the weight rack and hit his head at multiple angles. And that's a real shame because he fell that way, but he did sign a waiver saying that if he was injured in the class, it wasn't going to be the yoga studio's fault. So the lawyers for the yoga studio say that this guy has no chance of winning this law.
He had it coming. If this is true, I'm with the ladies on this one.
Everybody making less than $140,000 a year right now is doing worse than their parents or grandparents were doing in 1976 that were making $11,000 a year. In 1976, the average income for a household was $11,000. If you were to look in today's numbers based on gold, then the equivalent salary of $11,000 today is about $140,000 US dollars at a 15% tax rate. So we're not talking higher salary, higher taxes. We're saying if we're comparing 1976 $11,000 to 2024, the equivalent is $140,000. So
the average people here in Indonesia is making about $400 a month. They live okay.
recording everything for 30 years. Meet Marion Stokes. In 1979, Marion began recording TV 24/7, capturing sitcoms, news, and everything in between. She was determined to preserve television history that networks were constantly erasing to save money and free up storage space. As a former librarian and activist, Marion was passionate about access to information.
Those in power are able to write their own history.
She sometimes had as many as 8 tapes spinning away at once, even getting her family in on the act. We'd be out at dinner and we'd have to rush home to swap tapes, recalled her son Michael. By the time she passed away in 2012, Marion had amassed about 71,000 tapes, the only comprehensive collection preserving this period in television media history. Now, the Internet Archive is digitizing her incredible work to make it publicly available. Marion's vision of universal access to knowledge will finally be realized, thanks to her tireless effort of
She was also wealthy because she invested in Apples and Microsofts early on. One in a generation, and I don't think secretly. It's literally television.
Own nothing in this life. You don't own. This is a rented life.
True.
Ain't nobody better than nobody on this earth. You can't take it with you. All I can buy is cars and shoes, a bigger house, more cars. This is what money is. If you really break it down, there's nothing you can really do with it. You're just stacking it up to give it to somebody. Because if something happened to you, you're not taking it with you. So once I start thinking like that, the desire for me to chase in this business and compete, it went away.
It doesn't get any more realistic than this. Mike Epps told the truth on that. Because when you die, it all goes to someone else. The seat doesn't look very comfortable to me. What do you think?
Asian foods at Costco you're too afraid to try. Today we have Indomie mee goreng noodle.
You can just call it mee goreng. It's about 60 or 70% of like a regular shin ramyun. I did the weight and it's exactly sitting at 70%. One packet is usually a little not enough, but 2 is a little bit too much. So if you add a fried egg with this, I think it's a perfect meal.
Let's get everything out on a tray. Nice. Very standard fried noodles. You have chili sauce, sweet soy sauce, and an aromatic garlic oil. Instead of boiling with the noodles, we're going to make a paste with the dry ingredients. This is seasoning powder and shallot pieces. Spicy, salty, and sweet. Boil for 2 minutes and set your timer.
Alexa, play Despacito.
Make sure to drain well, and while it's hot, throw it onto your paste. Make sure to mix thoroughly. And we're going to add some extra shallot pieces. Spicy and crunchy. Finally, let's prep our fried egg. We're going to do a high heat Asian style fry. Bottom will be nice and crispy and the top will be runny. This took less than 5 minutes to assemble. This is going to be amazing. Let's give it a taste.
That is so flavorful. Roasted garlic, fried onion flavor. You have the sweetness from that soy sauce coming through. Mixed really well and really well balanced. While the yolk is still nice and jammy and soft, so you can mix it in. 50 cents per packet with the fried egg, definitely a good meal. So in terms of instant noodles, I would have to give this a 9 out of 10. It's spicy, sweet, salty. I would highly recommend it. Thanks.
I eat this all the time when I was a kid. It's really yummy. This is Indonesian signature instant noodles. You should try it. It's so good, it becomes a thing in Nigeria.
People in prison right now because they could not control their emotions in the heat of the moment. Learning to regulate your emotions will put you so far ahead in life. The most powerful person in the room is not the most explosive person. It's actually the opposite, because true power is in restraint. Children act on emotions. Healthy adults are in tune with their emotions, but they act with logic and purpose.
So true. A split-second impulse could cost you entire life. Please ask them of Bitcoin price of future.
And it took a lot of body coordination and a lot of confidence, courage, and belief. That's my cousin Elijah. Just pushed me in the pool. That's Levon, my other cousin, in the red. No! I dried off. They pushed me right back in. I can't believe that. First shot of me with no shirt on. I'm a nice person. I just took a shower and I washed my hair thoroughly. See what they do to me? It's me and my cousin on the trampoline. That was close.
People forget Mike never had a real childhood.
Egg and soldiers etiquette. First of all, using your non-dominant hand, hold the egg cup to secure it, and then with a teaspoon, smash the top. Place the teaspoon down, and then using the tip of your knife, cut into the top. And if you need to use your teaspoon to help take the top off, so be it. You then pick up your soldier, toasted or untoasted, depending on your preference, dunk in and eat.
We're Indonesian. We put one of our feet up and use our hand like a caveman to eat. I'm not joking.
Yo, so I'm in Arizona, just driving through, and tell me when the fuck they started making clouds. What the fuck? Yo, I've been through here like 20 times, I've never seen this shit. That's loud.
Let me go in there. Huh? Let me make sure nobody in here. Hello? See? There go man. There goes the man. See what I'm saying? There's a man. You know this is the women's bathroom, right? Sorry. That's the women's bathroom. A man in the women's bathroom. That's why you gotta go in here with your kids.
The first one is she just blurs people's face because they could sue.
Yo, why would Fox say this? Listen to this video.
Something to have lived through this, the strongest earthquake in 140 years, John. Look at all that, and it's not over yet because we've got the eclipse earthquake coming up on Monday. As Deborah Ross was telling us, it's going to be a transformative experience for anybody who is in the area of totality.
Okay, so who is Deborah Ross that they just mentioned? Apparently, from the Rochester Task Force for the Total Solar Eclipse. So this is her. So I just started investigating. Look, she's got a 13-hour video here about she's been planning for the eclipse for years. And she's been doing a lot of events. These are the events linked to her. And I was like, interesting. And then I went to the website and they got like this creepy clock, you know, the countdown. I don't know. Then I was like, well, remember the other news here. I don't know, guys. It's getting weird. What do you think? Watch that again. Stay informed. What do you think?
They are referring to the eclipse that CERN will be attempting. Let me know how you feel about this.
What happens to Earth? What happens to humans if a full-on nuclear war happens?
The bombs stop falling, in my scenario, 72 minutes after they first launch. And then the mega fires begin. Each nuclear weapon will have, according to the Defense Department, a mega fire that will burn between 100 and 300 square miles. So 1,000 weapons, everything is burning, forests, cities. And all of this soot gets lofted into the air. Some 300 billion pounds of soot. And what happens? It blocks out the sun. Ice sheets form. You're talking about bodies of water in places like Iowa being frozen for 10 years. Temperature plummets. The bottom line is agriculture fails. And we haven't even spoken of radiation poisoning.
Why
Well, let's get to it. Ain't got all day.
is no one talking about this kind of temptation?
The greatest weapon of mass destruction in world history is Satan's favorite secret weapon. You know what it is? Food. The very first temptation in the history of the world was a food temptation. The very first temptation of Christ was a food temptation. Oh, but wait, there's more. The children of Israel went down into Egypt and were slaves for 400 years because they were looking for food. Food is Satan's secret weapon. Maybe that's why it says in the New Testament, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. Wow. Eat or drink? Doesn't seem like that should go there. Whether or not you pray or read the Bible, do all to the glory of God. That's what we think. Whether or not you go to church or you tithe, do all to the glory of God. No. Whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. Food is Satan's secret weapon. He's used it to kill more people in world history than any other weapon. Most Americans dig their graves with a knife and fork. I'm telling you, your health, use it. Your fitness, use it, or you will lose it.
The Bible says, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Therefore, honor God with your bodies. If you want to honor God in all things, then I invite you to add me right now.
That makes sense now. That's why we have to fast. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God.
Don't you tell me Jesus isn't moving in the world. We were recently invited to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, where we saw over 52,000 people make decisions for Christ. But that's not even the crazy part. We were invited to India, where we planted over 200 churches in the last 2 years. The Bible says that the harvest is plentiful, but then it drops the bomb on us and says this: the laborers are too few. If we're seeing Jesus move this much with only a few laborers, imagine what would happen if all stood up and were bold witnesses for Christ. If you want God to use you, type "send me" in the comments and follow or subscribe.
My spirit is jumping up and down saying this. Don't get left behind, folks. Get saved. Accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Don't play around. The end is near.
For 4 hours, and I had been told from our last journey, I had a massive bag of snacks for us, that you can actually order fast food onto this moving train. So I've downloaded the app, I've scanned the QR code, and I've ordered our McDonald's. Let's see if I actually get delivered our McDonald's on here. Otherwise, all of us might be pretty starving by the time we arrive, because we've got 4 hours on here. But let's see, can you actually get a McDonald's on a moving high-speed rail train in China? We are arriving at the station that it should be delivered to. I don't know if it arrives straight away. If it's going to arrive, did the delivery guy get them in time? Because I think we're a little bit earlier than we were scheduled to arrive at the station. So I don't really know how it works, but we will see. Hi. Perfect, thank you. It worked. There we go. There we go. You don't need to bring all of those snacks. You can order fast food, even a McDonald's, on a high-speed rail. Perfect.
I thought they sent drones carrying the food and you pick it up through the windows while moving. That would have been cool.
You see this craft and you're inside. Was there any indication that there was an area that they would use to control it, to pilot? Was there a pilot seat?
There were 3 seats. They sat around, the reactor was in the dead center of it, and then equidistant around there were 3 seats. And that's all. There was a large, they're not consoles, they're large rectangular objects, also spaced equidistant around the center. There's nothing on them, there's no buttons, there's no lights, there's no control.
Look the same color, the same
Everything
thing.
is the same
It's
color.
just a different shape.
Right. And directly underneath them, there's 3 levels in the craft. The main level is what we're talking about. Directly under that, those are the gravity amplifiers, the big rectangular objects. Underneath them are the gravity emitters that look like, for lack of a better word, a trash can hanging on a pipe. 3 of those. And then the top layer this is just my personal belief. I think that has to do with a navigation or their version of a computer with some planar panels, sensor panels around the craft that we would call portholes, but they're not portholes. They're just black areas. And I think that just determines its, position in space. But I physically was in the center section, and I stuck my torso in the bottom section and hung upside down so I could see how the gravity amplifiers were positioned.
What is the roughly the size of this thing?
It's I don't remember from being there, but after all this stuff was over, I had John Andrews, a guy from the Testers Model Corporation, and we sat down and tried to figure out from what I saw and known sizes of things, and we came up with 52 feet in diameter. And
So
I think that's
fairly small.
Yeah, so I think that's a reasonable guess.
Now, you said there's 9 of them, and you got a brief glimpse at the other ones. How are they different?
Oh, they looked completely different. One looked like I called a Jell-O mold, and it looked like a classic Jell-O mold with the rippled sides to it. One was a very flat disc, like like a straw hat or something like that. That was sitting up on its edge, and the thin part of it looked like a projectile had been fired through the edge of it. So I don't know if they were attempting to see if the metal could be penetrated, or if that's where the thing came from. Maybe it was shot down. But that was the only one where I saw there was, actual physical damage to it.
And that one was roughly the same size? They're all...
They were kind of too far away to tell.
The question is why they left him alive to tell this story. I think he's part of the bigger deception. Let me hear your take in the comment. Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
A lot of people with crystals, people wearing crystals as amulets and so forth, but when I look at the energy, I realize they haven't activated the energy of the crystals. Not activating your crystals is just basically you wearing a stone around your neck. You're not in connection with the spirit inside the crystal, which is the earth elemental. One of the great ways to activate your crystals is to hold it in your hand. When your left hand would be great and much more preferable. Take your breath and breathe on it 3 times. Spirit of the crystal, if you can hear me and you're ready to connect with me, create a sensation in my hand and then hold your crystal. And if you feel a sensation of heat or cold or tingling or heaviness, like, oh, in my body, I'm feeling it now. The crystal of the spirit is now activating with you. So now you ask the spirit what you want it to do based on its attributes.
Don't do this, please. This is super demonic. You don't know what kind of spirit you're inviting. Accept Christ and you will receive the Holy Spirit, God's Spirit.
This is the one club you won't want to be a part of. The 27 Club, consisting of members like Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, and many other famous artists, has been known for one thing: losing their lives at the age of 27. There are many conspiracies surrounding this club, but one in particular talks about selling your soul to the devil for fame and fortune. In one instance, Robert Johnson, a legendary American blues guitarist who people said had no talent, rose to fame in the span of a year after he met a mysterious man, and that in 2 of his songs, Crossroad Blues and Hellhound on My Trail, he alludes to the devil following him around waiting to snatch his soul. He eventually died of a mysterious circumstance. But one thing for sure is that...
Anyone who wants to join this club, and why?
Where are the images from Christopher Columbus? Where are the 1492 ships? And we talked about this in multiple other videos. Where are they? They have a picture of the Santa Maria, which I thought was really interesting. There's the ship that supposedly came over, right? What's interesting is if you look at all the emblems on the ship, but here's the part that doesn't make any sense, right? And this is why I like to connect the dots. You have this ship, right? But look at those high-rise buildings in the background. Those are pretty big. So people supposedly coming over on these ships were also building high-rises in the back of the city. This is a building in California, and it goes by each state. Look at that. Look at that architecture. Just remarkable, right? The amount of detail, the arches. Big Bang Theory must have included those buildings too. Yes, when they were doing Big Bang, they were talking about Big Bang of these things because they were getting rid of a lot of this stuff because there was so much beauty. Now here's what's interesting. This is Raisins, California building. And I'm going to turn this and try to get you guys so you can see this. But that is a pyramid.
How is there a picture from the 1400s when the camera wasn't invented until the 1800s?
Gateway process. A term that might sound straight out of a science fiction novel or a conspiracy theory form. But it's far more real and intriguing than one might imagine. Imagine a world where you could transcend the confines of reality. Travel through space and time with just the power of your consciousness. In 1983, Lieutenant Colonel Wayne McDonald submitted a groundbreaking report titled Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process to U.S. Army Intelligence. This report was no ordinary military briefing. It detailed a revolutionary method for achieving out-of-body experiences, all in the pursuit of intelligence gathering. The Gateway process isn't your typical military strategy. It's a mind-bending journey that involves participants projecting their consciousness beyond the constraints of our perceived reality. Developed by the Monroe Institute in the 1970s, this process combines brainwave synchronization techniques with specific sound frequencies to induce altered states of consciousness. What exactly does the Gateway process offer? According to McDonald's report, participants can potentially traverse the universe, visiting any location and time period imaginable. It challenges the very fabric of our understanding of reality, suggesting that our universe is but a construct of the mind. Delving deeper, the report explores holographic theory, proposing that the universe is a complex interplay of energy fields. It theorizes that human consciousness can transcend physical limitations and exchange information with other dimensions, potentially reshaping reality itself through a process known as patterning. But with great power comes great responsibility and risk. While proponents of the Gateway process tout enhanced self-awareness, creativity, and clarity as potential benefits, there are darker shadows lurking in the depths. Reports of intense anxiety, depression, and even psychosis among participants serve as cautionary tales. Colonel McDonald himself warned of encounters with non-friendly entities beyond the boundaries of time and space. The missing page, 25 of the CIA's Gateway report, later released by the Monroe Institute, only adds to the mystery and speculation surrounding the process.
Another demonic practice. This is very dangerous, folks.
You put the salt in the water, you're now drinking salt water, and we're to drink pure water. And because magnesium is a water-hungry molecule, that's why it pulls the water inside the cell. So if you put it in the water, it'll just dissolve in the water. You won't get this same effect. So I have a tiny little container that I have in my pocket or in my little bag, so it makes it easy.
As I believe she stated, you're supposed to put it under your tongue.
I look crazy. You see what I'm saying? They do things that you literally can't explain to anybody without the general public completely dismissing it, saying, I would like some free half and half. They were listening to what we were saying, they went out and got it, and they replaced it with it, and they put it in the fridge when we didn't notice. They came into our residence. No, you don't want free half and half. No, you don't want your doorknob fixed and your car shifter fixed. You don't want that. These are things that they do to discredit people that they're doing it to. Another thing that a lot of people were saying was, if you signed an NDA, why are you saying it now? One, because so many people are coming out and saying it. Two, because I didn't really break the NDA. I didn't really say where we were. I didn't really say who was there. I didn't really say what happened there. So I didn't really break it. They can't really do anything to me about that. And I'm pretty sure there's a statute of limitations, and it was quite a while ago. So I'm pretty sure I'm good. Fingers crossed I'm good. But a lot of people were trying to discredit it by saying, well, you signed the NDA, but you're talking about it.
Listen to what...
I thought NDAs don't work when they are disclosing is illegal. But let me know what you think about this.
former atheist Adam Curry says on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I've looked at every conspiracy theory, you know, moon landing, 9/11, JFK. The one I'd never looked at is God. And I said, let me see about this God thing. I've never been a religious guy, so I start reading. There's a lot of stuff written about Jesus. There's a lot written, you know, thousands of years of books, and there's some contemporary stuff such as evidence demands a verdict. And, you know, this just is so much. And I got to tell you, Joe, as sure as I know that Building 7 didn't fall down out of sympathy for Building 1 and 2, God is real, Jesus existed, he was a bad outlaw, and has changed my outlook on life.
If you believe in God, subscribe for more.
Another brother in Christ gain. Praise God.
Only by coming here. Only then can you truly understand why the Great Wall is called a wonder of the world. This is the Jiangkou Great Wall, which is known as the most dangerous section of the Great Wall. I really can't imagine that this was a project built by China 500 years ago. Elevation 3743 feet. This area is built against the mountains, built on dangerous peaks and cliffs. It stretches for 13 miles. It is named after its shape, like a bow full of arrows. The road leading to Jiangkou Great Wall is almost not intact. Weathered masonry, plus a steep slope of nearly 70 degrees. It's only 23 inches wide at its narrowest point. The first step is 20 inches high. On both sides is an abyss. Once you get to the middle, you will find that it is impossible to go back, because going back is harder than going forward. Those who are timid may not even have the courage to take the first step. It is really hard to imagine how the Chinese hundreds of years ago built city walls by hand in such dangerous situations. Just looking at it is terrifying. Do you dare to go up?
One bad move and everyone falls. My hands start sweating just looking at this.
Have you ever wondered what your world actually looks like? Well, it don't look like this. This is actually just racist. So the problem with this map is it makes ethnic countries look smaller and it makes European countries look bigger, but that was not the intention. It was made by a man named Mercator to make sailing easier, but he himself didn't use this map. He's like, I created it for sailors. I'm not a sailor.
Let's see what happens when I take Brazil and bring it to the United States. Let's see what happens when I take Brazil and bring it to Russia. Let's see what happens when I take the United States and bring it to Africa. What about tiny little Indonesia? Well, it turns out Indonesia ain't that small.
So why do we use that map today? Well, geographers had the same question, so they made this map. They're like, well, nobody really sails like that anymore, so let's make a more accurate representation. They asked the geographers who created this version, why are you going around changing things? And their words were, the inaccurate maps we use today give European countries a false sense of superiority over countries that are bigger. People said, we're not using it. Geographers said, why? They said, because it's stretchy and ugly. Geographers said, fine, it's not stretchy anymore. On this one, we had to do a couple things, but we have this. Everyone's like, it looks kind of weird. We don't like that one either. Geographers came out and said, all right, what about this one? It don't look like an orange peel, everything touching. They said, nah, it don't look like a square, like a paper. Now, it took geographers decades, but a Japanese architect came out and said, I made you one that's accurate. It kind of looks like your old one, and it is beautiful. This map won awards for design, science, and innovation because of its math structure. This was made in 1999. It's still not used today.
I'm all for fair representation. But this is just due to math of 3D object being distorted on a 2D surface. What do you think?
Indian food killed this travel influencer. Travel influencer Oscar Curry is believed to be dead after a message was posted to his TikTok page announcing his passing. His last video was posted just over 2 weeks ago, and sadly, it seemed like he foreshadowed his own passing. I'm going to translate the whole video just so that you can get a sense of how eerie it is.
Why?
This is the most contaminated food in the world. Today, we are in India, and I want you to see the great chef with the food that is the most contaminated in the world, but the most contaminated in the world, where if you eat this, you will go to heaven, and you will go to heaven like that. And look, please, Look how our friend is prepping our plate. And if a person tries this and survives, they can survive anything. But if they don't survive, they go to heaven. Would you try this?
What is going on?
Would you try this, people? Would you guys try this? Honestly, it doesn't look hygienic to eat this.
You think?
Look, and what is this? It looks like noodles, but they're not noodles. They look like something else. And look, there's water. This is the water that... What is this? Don't tell me that this is what people drink. Or that they take a shower here. I don't know.
Oh my god.
You know what? It's better if I don't say anything anymore.
Do not
All this just for a cloud? Very sad. Rest in peace, bro.
move to Florida. There's water moccasins everywhere, snakes, alligators, tornadoes, sharks, hurricanes, heat, humidity, mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, red ants. Don't move to Florida. It's horrible. It's awful. Don't believe what they say. It's just terrible.
Oh my goodness. I'm moving there right away. Thanks for the good advice. I'm just kidding, folks. Bali is beautiful too. I advise you folks to visit.
Zoos were losing over 20 tigers. This zoo didn't have a single animal in a size S. They had inflatable-looking crocodiles, blob-like red pandas, seals that resembled sausages, leopards with stretched-out spots, foxes that looked more like samoyeds, and black bears with beer bellies. Even the king of the forest, the big tiger, was fattened up to look like a pig, waddling around like a dog. Have you ever seen a peacock this chubby? Welcome to Shendiao Mountain Zoo. This zoo is actually run by a local village. The caretakers are the village's grandpas and grandmas, whose only goal is to make sure the animals are well fed. Many netizens worry that being so overweight might affect the animals' health. The official response is that the animals need to store fat to keep warm in the winter and will slim down by summer. But as summer rolls around, they remain just as round and plump. Local netizens say they never slim down. They stay chubby all year round.
When they mention take care by grandpas and grandmas, everything makes sense to me.
You know, the moon is rusting.
What? I've heard about it.
Yep. So there's this kid that took like the most high quality picture of the moon ever taken, and it was like over like 2,000 images that he combined, and you can clearly see that the moon is rusting. And then I saw this on NASA on their website, and the article said, while the moon is airless, research indicates the presence of hematite, a form of rust that normally requires oxygen and water. This has scientists puzzled. Do you know what the word hematite? Hematite is a name that is derived from the Greek word meaning blood. It says, the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. And it shall come to pass that everyone who calls in the name of the Lord shall be saved. The term hematite, it's a type of rusting that only occurs with this certain mineral, water and oxygen. But the moon is literally doing that right now, and scientists do not know why. Throughout scripture of just like moon turning to blood, and like, what does that mean? Because they have like the blood moon, right?
Yep.
People are like, oh, that's going to happen on this day. So like the Bible ultimately translated into Greek at one point, right? And the Greek word for blood is hematite, the same word that they use for this rust. And so it's like the moon is literally has hematite on it. That's weird. It's all gonna end soon, so you better.
End times is coming, my friends.
NASA is basically space Hollywood.
Crazy things I've seen on the internet today. If you like this butter, soon you might get paid if you've bought it. They are facing a class action lawsuit, not only for their packaging, but their labeling. The wrapping around Kerrygold butter has forever chemicals in it, or PFAS, which have negative effects on the human body. Those negative effects include reproductive issues, developmental issues in children, and the risk of cancer. The labeling suggesting that they are pure Irish butter was challenged because obviously it's not pure. It contains forever chemicals, and they fought back, saying that they meant the butter was purely from Ireland and not pure Irish butter. This just reaffirms my notion that every mainstream company that sells food in the United States is trying to kill us. Tornado Alley has apparently shifted. The map up top is tornado activity from 1986 to 2020, which is obviously different from the one from 1951 to 1985. And the areas in red and orange and yellow that are peak activity are in different spots now. And this year, as an example, we're seeing higher than normal tornado activity, and we're seeing it in abnormal places. Somebody found a Kelvinator refrigerator from the 1940s in a field in Texas. This refrigerator was sitting in that field for decades. It was rusting, the parts looked completely damaged, but when they plugged this refrigerator in, it still worked without any repair. The reason I'm telling you this is the realization that we will never have a product like that ever again. The products that we use are made to break. They want you to have to buy new products over and over and over again, and nothing is made to last anymore. Just another depressing thing about the state of the world. A 71-year-old man was arrested for having 3,000 stolen Lego sets in his house.
What?
Release him. We have bigger fish to fry. Let the man have his Lego sets.
Yeah, man, let the man have his Lego set. Alright, folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and don't forget to like or dislike so I can make better content. Thank you for staying till the end. There's a free gift below if you like. Thank you for watching. Have a prosperous day, and God bless.
Hey.
Yes.
Would you like to do something dirty with me?
Ooh. What you got in mind?
I got a bottle of oil, and I'm gonna put you on your back.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Come.
All right, remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty.